to me, I think the flaw of workshop now in general is that it doesn't acknowledge these different kinds of narratives, and there's an insistence on certain kinds of narratives and structures that are taught, even so much as we look at something like Campbell's story structure, which is, you know, that's fine, that's Hero's Journey, turn on Netflix, everybody's watching it. But just asking the question, why is it that we conceptualize story this way only? Because if you look at other traditions and cultures, it doesn't unfold like that always. If you read Chinese folk tales or something like that, that's not how a story rolls. But we somehow think that's the only way a story rolls. And so I'm trying to just, I just ask the question really, because I think that the narrative itself of how we create is so exceedingly Western centric and male dominated in terms of our conceptualization of how story unfolds, that we need to give a little space and breather for other kinds of writing.
Excellent, thank you. Go ahead, Frank.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback on that because it's sounds idyllic. I think that's a great way to resolve some of what seems kind of wrong-headed in hindsight. But I'm also in the academy, and I think before we even get to the classroom, we have to diversify the faculty. Before we even do that, we have to diversify the undergraduates and the graduate students who will become faculty in the future. Even I'm at a predominantly white institution, and we may have 2 African-American male English majors. We have 40,000 students. But I think that's typical across the country in predominantly white institutions. And you raise that question in meetings, people always seem so shocked and surprised. You know, we we have surveys that we conduct where it's anonymous, but you have to put your ethnicity and your gender. I'm the only African-American male in the department. I can never have anonymity with this particular structure. And there are things that people just don't think about because of how their world is centered. We're just now adding diversity initiatives to our department bylaws because we finally figured out how we were, as a department, how institutional racism was embedded in the bylaws, even in the hiring practices, in all the protocol that allow people to say, we do this because it's the way we've always done it. But the way we've always done it resulted in this, and this seems wrong-headed. How do we fix it? So it took a while to get us to walk backwards, to actually look at the bylaws, then look at the hiring practices, then look at the makeup of the undergraduates and the graduate students to say, oh, we should not be surprised that there are no African-American English graduate students. There hasn't been one for 5 years. Then when you ask the question, well, whose job is it to recruit them? And people are looking around the room as if, well, it's somebody else, but not me, but not me.